Hi, I'm Mike Ween. I'm a member of the Octagon Elite team.
And I'm Scott Borland. I'm a member of the Octagon League team also.
Scott and I have both been doing triathlons for over 20 years, all over the world. And we've been asked to share some of our wisdom over that time. So let's start with Scott. Scott, what's the biggest mistake you've made in your training or in competing?
I've thought about that for a long time. And one of the things that I feel has been very important for me is overtraining. I have a tendency to want to keep training and training and training because I think I'm getting better, better, and better. And what I learned that it sometimes gets you slower, slower, and slower. So now I've got more efficient in the way that I do my daily workouts and my weekly workouts.
Great. I probably can learn something from that too.
But what about you, Mike? What have you?
I think that I wasn't purposeful enough on my nutrition and what I was taking in. And the more I've learned about the importance of salt, and calories, and really having a laid out plan for what I'm supposed to do in each mile, that's probably been the most significant thing. There's one other thing I'd say too. I've never taken tapering that seriously. And I think I'm learning from experience that I probably need to do a better job of tapering before the races.
Well, with me, with food and eating on the bike, I worked a whole system out into what we do. And I don't take anything on the course. And I think it's been very important because I found a difference on my races once I accomplished that.
Great.
So Mike, when we go through a lot of things, because you and I have been together for a long time doing this, as one of the things is our families. So why don't you talk about your family and how have you worked with them over these years?
One of the things is that, I've had the opportunity to train with my son, Andrew. He's gotten into marathons and that's been a lot of fun. We've actually run the Boston Marathon twice together. But the other thing, and maybe the most important, is that Nanette has become my competitive intelligence officer on the course. She's at all my races, and my strongest of the three suits is the run. And she'll let me know exactly where my competition is during the run, how far behind I am or how far ahead of I am, and it's just really valuable. Seeing her on the course is also terrific, but she's my competitive intelligence officer. How about you?
Yeah, my wife, Joanne, has been at every race that I've done over those 20 years of the major races that I've done. I've also had my family with me to where I've taken them to foreign countries and different places and I've had them there. And one of the things I found for my family, it was important, one, to be there, but for me, it was to be there and see them. It drove me to go to the next place that I knew I could see them again. Because on an Ironman course, I could see him up to 6 times. On a 70.3, I could see him a couple of times. And on a marathon, we could see our wives, if you remember, on 17.2 at Boston, we saw him every year and every time we went by him. Yeah. And I tell you, it was an energy level that just kept me moving. And I really enjoyed that. And I know you have too, with your family.
Sure. I guess we both agree that having our wives involved in what we're doing is so important. And we would both agree that we're very lucky that we don't have iron widows.
Yeah, a lot of people do. But, I think that if you can involve your family, by bringing your children or your kids or my grown kids now, to these events in the world, wherever you might go, because they're unique and they're fun, it actually gets them to understand what you do. And then in turn, when you're out on a long 6-hour ride or a 4-hour or 5-hour ride and then a run, they go, okay, I can get that because I get to go to my next destination with them.
Yeah, that's terrific. So Scott, tell me about your experiences with coaches and what you think about the importance of coaches in your training.
Well, I think as we've talked, Mike, is I've had a coach since I started 20 years ago and over 20 years ago. And I have found that the coach keeps me level. The coach keeps me in focus. An example on a thing I just did this morning with my coach on a riding thing. Basically, he was saying, Scott, you can get your cadence up higher, or I can do this, or you're looking good. And those things have been important, but not only for that purpose, but for organizing my workouts and getting me more focused on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
Good.
What about you, Mike?
Scott, I'm one that's not been known to be compliant. And so that's always been a challenge, but I certainly recognize the importance of coaching, and I've benefited a lot from coaching recently. And when I say not compliant, if, for instance, I'm supposed to run 10 miles on Saturday, and you call me up and say, you're riding 40 miles on Saturday, well, somehow I'm going to be riding 40 miles. I mean, it's the social part of it is just so important. But what I've been able to do is I now have a couple swim coaches, because I swim, different times during the week, and they've been very helpful, and they've gotten to know me. I have a running coach, and in biking, I've been taking spin classes, and maybe that person represents my actual bike. The real challenge is putting all those together, and that's, I think, really where, as I said earlier, I really haven't gotten the full complement of coaching as far as the nutrition side. That's something that, the nice thing is that I'm still in the learning stage, and I'm still trying to, find the best recipe for success.
Yeah, I think it's something we'll all search for as long as we're doing this. I mean, and with me, the coach keeps me accountable to what I'm doing, and sometimes tells me when I'm doing too much, and then when I'm doing too little.
Sure.
And I think that's important for me because of, some people are just more regimented in their styles and what they do. It doesn't make them better or worse or indifferent. That's just what it is. And as you know, Mike, I'm more regimented in what I do.
Right.
And one of the great things is we work with each other. That's why when we get to the next subject is so important, is the standpoint of trading buddies, and I think that because that also is where you have fun doing this. So why don't you talk about that, Mike, on the training buddies?
Yeah, I think that the key to having training buddies is it helps you avoid burnout. All right. One, maybe the most important is if you're supposed to be running with someone at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you want to sleep in, you can't because someone's waiting in a parking lot or somewhere. But it also gives you someone who not only understands your successes and failures, but appreciates them and knows how hard an Ironman is, and just having people to train with. I very seldomly will go out on a run or bike. I do swim by myself. But running and biking, I always try to find a group. I always try to find people that are, either challenge me or are my speed. And that's really been terrific about our relationship, is that, you and I seem to challenge each other all the time when we're training together. So I think training buddies is essential, and it really is a key thing to enjoying the racing and not burning out. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the most important thing I've had in my doing this has been you, as my training buddy. Because one of the things that happens in this is that you, as he said, we challenge each other. And I will tell you that we've been in many races together, and we've seen each other as we're going by or going up or another way or crossing each other, and we always are rooting on the other person. And, and I tell you, that's important too, because when you're out there alone on a course and you see your training buddy or training people that you've been with, it's exciting for both of you. Yeah. And, and I think that that's one of the key things is that you can have a coach, you can do all these things, but having a training buddy is someone that gets you up in the morning, gets you out there. And then when you're going past me on a bike, I'm going to get past you the next time. And I think that's not because we're competitive, it's because we just enjoy it. And I think that's one of the key things to triathlon is to have that all together tied in.
Great. Well, hey, it's been nice sharing this with you and visiting with the people. And listen, if you ever see our Octagon shirt, jersey on the race course, please give us a shout out. And in fact, if you see any Octagon team members, give them a shout out. It really helps keep us motivated and helps us go faster.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day, everybody.